Hey, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com, and in this video we are going to talk about how I won a 30 lakh project for my digital marketing agency. So if you are a digital freelancer or if you are running a digital marketing agency, this video will be extremely useful for you because I'm going to tell all the secrets that helped me get this 30 lakh project. So this 30 lakh project was over a period of 6 months, and every month we charge the client around 5 lakhs. So how did we get this project? I cannot reveal the details of the client or details of the work, but I will reveal a lot of other details which will help you. So the first point is that you need to approach the CEO of the company that you are planning to work with. And this can be a decision maker instead of the CEO. It could be like the COO, the CXO operations, or the VP of digital marketing, whoever it is, there is going to be one decision maker inside each and every company. Even if you consider this as a B2B service, end of the day, it is a person that is making a decision. So they say that there is no such thing as a B2B or B2C. It's always B2P. It's business to people. So you need to identify that one person who can make a decision to give you the project. And you need to approach this person, right? So how do you approach this person? For me, the opportunity was that I was in a hotel. It was a 5-star hotel, and I was sitting and working there in the restaurant, and I saw the CEO of this big company walk in, and I went and approached her. So a lot of people get chances to see decision makers like CEOs in certain localities, right? It could be something like a hotel, or sometimes the chances of meeting someone in a hotel is less. But if you go to events, if you go to conferences, it's a very highly likely chance that you will meet some important decision makers there. So having the courage to go ahead and approach them is the most important aspect of winning your digital marketing agency journey, right? You need to establish the contact first. And a lot of people do not do that, right? A lot of people send an email and wait for a reply. They tweet and wait for a reply. And sometimes they get ignored because these people are popular, they are busy, and they don't get enough time to reply to each and every email they get. And a lot of other agencies are probably sending them cold emails, asking them that, can you give us an opportunity? We will serve you. We have this product and things like that. So an easy way to kind of bypass that is to approach them in person. And when I say that you need courage to approach them, the courage basically comes from being okay with being rejected. Because I'm telling you right now, if you approach 10 such people like that, 9 people will most probably reject you. They won't even talk to you, and you might feel a little bit of pain. And that is common with anything in life. Only if you ask, you will get it. The crying baby gets the milk. And the only way to get more is to ask more. And the only way to be comfortable with asking more is to be okay with rejection. So when I approached this CEO, I knew that there is a chance that I might get rejected. She might not talk to me and I might feel the pain, but even then you just have to go ahead and do it. So fortunately in this case, I had an opportunity to get just 5 minutes of talking time with her. And I was able to convince her that, hey, let's go ahead and take this further, and this is what I can do. So you can kind of approach it like that, right? Be okay with rejection, meet people in real. And this also means that you need like good body language, good self-confidence, good posture, and all those things really matter because this is human to human relations, right? Because you are having a relationship with the client, they need to trust you, not just trust you in terms of being honesty, in terms of honesty and the factor that you will not cheat, but they also need to trust you that you are actually capable of delivering the project and you have what it takes to help them, right? So this is the first most important thing. Be okay with approaching people in person. Obviously past 2 years it was lockdown period and we didn't have much of these events and conferences, but now things are opening up and you will have a chance to see people. If you see someone, just do not hesitate to go and approach them. It's okay if you get rejected. It's okay if you look like a fool, right? So at the same time, having a little bit of personal brand also helps because in my case, when I approached her, she had heard about Digital Deepak previously. like digital Deepak, हाँ मैंने सुना है, right? That was more than enough to kind of establish my credibility that hey, I am someone you should take seriously. So this is not something that everybody can do because it takes several years to build that brand. I have been blogging since 2013 and this happened in 2018 or 2019. So she had already known me, but for you, if you are just getting started, they might not know you, right? Your reputation might not precede you. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you cannot have a personal brand, right? You can have a blog, you can have a bunch of articles in it. You know, if they look at your blog and if they look at the fact that you have written a lot of articles, immediately you get a certain level of authority. You can also think about publishing a book. Like for example, I have one of my students in the digital marketing club platinum level, and he does digital marketing services only for doctors, and he has written a book called Digital Marketing for Doctors. And nobody reads that book because doctors obviously don't have time to read a book about digital marketing for doctors. But at the same time, the fact that he has published a book and he is a published author gives him so much credibility that doctors immediately trust him, right? The word authority is derived from the word author, right? Or we can say the word author is derived from the word authority, which means that if you are an author, it gives you a certain level of authority, right? So that is also personal branding. So writing is very important. So whatever category is your niche, you have to write something about it to show people that this is what we can do. At the same time, if you have already had a client, then you can write a case study about a particular client and how they have gone ahead and did certain digital marketing tasks and how they have got results. That also adds a lot of credibility. Even if people do not have the patience to go through the entire thing, it helps a lot in client conversions, right? So the next most important thing is to get the official meeting. If you just approach someone, say hi, just get connected, get the phone number, it's not enough, right? You need to get their time. And I was able to give like just like a 5 to 10 minute pitch of what I can do for them. And they gave me a meeting, and it was the following week. It was, I think, on a Tuesday. They gave me a 1 hour meeting. And for you to get a time blocked in the calendar is the most important step that you have to look for next, because if you do not get them on a calendar, then they are not going to pay undivided attention to what you have to say. So once you get the meeting on a calendar, it should be minimum 30 minutes. Ideally, it should be 1 hour, so that you can explain what you can do for them. So you should not approach the client in the vibe of what you can get from them. If at all the client feels like you are out there to try to get something from the client, they are immediately going to reject you. You need to be in a position and you have to tell them what you can offer for the client, because humans are greedy, right? Everybody is looking at what they want and they are not looking at what they can give. They are looking at what they can get. So you need to appeal to their desire and you need to tell them that this is what you can do for them. And once you get the meeting, you need to come up with a kick-ass proposal. So a kick-ass proposal is basically a very well-designed PowerPoint presentation or a keynote presentation which talks about your organization. It also talks about their organization, because they need to know how you understand their organization, right? So talk about their organization, talk about your team, including freelancers, so that there is a sense of seriousness. So you don't look like a freelancer, but you look like a proper company, like an agency, right? And one of the things that I feel that helped was that my company was not a sole proprietorship nor a partnership. It was a private limited. So when somebody sees that you have a private limited company, it adds a little bit of authority. It's not that important, but it's definitely a factor in certain cases where there are companies who say that they can only work with private limited companies. Like for example, we did a project for Mercedes-Benz and we did a training for their marketing managers. And Mercedes-Benz has a vendor agreement, a vendor rules that the vendor has to be a private limited company for them to work with us. So in case we had not kept our private limited company ready and formed at that time, we would not even have got that project, right? So obviously here I am talking about a different client, not the Mercedes-Benz one. Mercedes-Benz was around 2 lakh a month. That was also a good project. I will talk about that in some other video. But yeah, show them the team, show that you are a well-established company, show that you have a registered office. in a good location. Like for example, I'm in Bangalore and my office is in Koramangala, right? So if you have an office in Koramangala, then it adds a certain level of authority. It's not like some unknown place. And if you do not want to have an office, and if you're a remote team, at least get like a virtual address and pay some 1,000 rupees a month for this virtual address. It could be like MG Road, some towers in Bangalore. Put it on your business card. Again, having a business card is very important. When I approached them, I was able to give them my business card. So having a very well designed business card which stands out also adds a lot of credibility. So in the proposal, you have to show them how much money they can make. And as I said, you need to be telling them what they can get out of the equation. You should not be telling what you are like wanting to get. So if you show them how much money they can make, what they are not doing, what you can do for them, and how much the competitors are making, which means that you have to do your homework, you have to get the data properly, and all these things, like a good preparation before the meeting is going to give you a lot of authority and a very good chance that they will actually say yes to you, right? So I will probably talk about how to develop a client proposal in a separate video. That's a whole topic in itself. But remember that your proposal matters a lot. But at the same time, the proposal is not going to speak to them, right? Proposal is going to be there, but you have to speak to them, and you have to present the proposal, and how you are presenting the proposal is very important. And when you are with the client inside a conference room, or it might be online, ideally I would like an offline meeting. Try to keep your phone on flight mode. Ideally, if you have a co-founder, get them as well and get them to kind of reiterate some of the things that you are saying, so that there is a lot of authority and credibility. And if possible, ask the clients also to put their phone on flight mode. That is something I did not do, and it was a mistake. But if you are presenting and if the client is getting a call, getting a message, looking at the phone, it will kind of distract you a little bit. So there is nothing wrong in asking the client to put their phone on flight mode. You can request them, and it will only show that you are very serious about this. They will probably not take it in a bad way. And towards the end of the presentation, you need to present your cost. And ideally, whenever you are coming up with the cost, you have to present a very high anchor, right? So there is going to be negotiation, it's going to be reduced. And at the same time, if you are pricing it very low, then you will not have the capability to provide the best of the best service to them. So you should always try to put 2x of what you think is the highest, right? If you think that charging 1 lakh is very high, then put 2 lakhs, right? If you think that charging 5 lakh is very high, put 10 lakhs. So always come up with a high number. But at the same time, once you get the project, put all your heart and soul into the project, get it delivered. We had a very happy client. So we obviously charged very high, but we had a very happy client. So they are not complaining, and they made 3x to 4x within the 1 year when they started working with us of what they had spent with us, which means that they are getting a very good ROI. And one of the tricks that you can use in presenting a number to the client in terms of the cost is, do not put round off numbers, right? Do not put 1 lakh, do not put 2 lakh, do not put 3 lakh, right? Instead, put something like 5 lakh 35,000, 1 lakh 28,500. So when you put a number that is not a round off number, it kind of shows that you have actually worked to arrive at a particular number by making some calculations, and it feels a little bit less movable, right? If you go ahead and ask for purchasing a house, right? If you are into purchasing a real estate, and imagine the house owner is saying that 50 lakh de do, then you will obviously try to negotiate. You will ask for 30 lakhs, 35 or 40 lakhs. But however, if the seller is saying this house will cost 56 lakhs 35,500, then there is an arrival for the actual number, right? There is taxes, there is this, there is that. So it looks less movable, right? For you to negotiate is more difficult. So when you look at car prices, when you look at house prices, it's never round off numbers. So similarly, you should not be presenting round off numbers, and they will still negotiate, but at the same time, you will have a little bit more authority there, right? Don't put too much of a specific number as well. Do not put like 1,23,353 rupees 0.25 paise. That will also look like a little bit fake. So kind of like, manage it somewhere around, 5,000 or a few thousand rupees ka granularity you can have. So that is something that you should keep in mind. And once you have presented the offer, do not act needy, right? Do not keep following up with them every day. Hey, did you look at it? Did you look at it? Did you, like, people are busy people. They need some time to get back. So once you have done the presentation, they will obviously be like, oh, it's now, like, this is a high number. But you can reiterate that, we are really confident that, this is something that, will give a great value for you. And this is the minimum that we have to charge to make it work for you. So come back, give it like a few days break, and then slowly start following up on email and get the second meeting. So the second meeting will be about negotiation. If the client likes your proposal, I hope most probably they will. And here also there is a funnel, right? If you approach 10 people, only one person is going to give you an appointment. If you have maybe 3 or 4 appointments, only one of them will go for a second round of negotiation or second round of discussion. And usually when it comes to the second round of discussion, there is a very good chance that you will win the project, because the second round of meeting and discussion is mostly about the negotiation. So once it comes to negotiation, that's where you finalize it. And after negotiation, once you verbally agree on the numbers, then you are going to put it under a contract, and then you are going to sign off the contract to actually kickstart the project. So when it comes to negotiation, you should always give them an option to say no. That gives you a lot of power, right? When you are sitting in a powerful position, and imagine you are like truly having a lot of clients, you are a very successful agency, you presented an offer to someone and the person is not like ready to accept. If they say no, you are going to be okay with it, right? So whether you have a lot of clients or not, act from a position of power and go ahead and give them an option to say no. You have to start saying that, see, if this price is not acceptable to you, and if this is something you cannot afford, and if you say no to it, it is completely fine. So first remove that pressure from the whole negotiation, right? Give the client an option to say no. And the next one is that identify the elephant in the room, right? If they are kind of hesitating to give the project, explicitly ask them, is it a problem of trust? Is it a problem of capability? Is it a problem of pricing? And all these things you have to kind of identify the elephant in the room. And whenever there is a negotiation, it's like a tough situation, right? Tough situation for the client, tough situation for you. And there will always be an elephant in the room. And the only way to kind of shrink the elephant in the room is to call out the elephant and point it out. Hey, this is the elephant in the room. And I hope you understand what elephant in the room means. If you don't, just Google about it. So it is basically the unsaid thing that is kind of obvious to both the parties that is there in the room, right? In the discussion, it's like the tension that is there in the discussion. So if you identify the elephant in the room, if they are hesitating to ask something, even before they hesitate to ask you something, go ahead and identify it. Again, that is a position of power, and you have to act from that position of power, right? You have to be alpha in the relationship. So this is very important. And another very good tactic in negotiation is that you have to be giving silent pauses, right? If you have seen the Godfather movie, you will see that the Godfather, who acts from a position of insane levels of power, he is not always trying to fill up the conversation whenever there is a silent pause, right? If you and me are talking and there is a silent pause, the person with the lower power in the entire conversation usually gets uncomfortable, and they try to go ahead and fill up the gap by talking something, right? Immediately they will start talking something. And you might have observed this, right? You would have definitely been in conversations where you are talking to someone who can be like a college junior or like a younger cousin or someone who you do not look up to, and they have a lower social status than you. And if you are in a conversation and if you are giving a silent pause, then they will immediately start filling up the conversation by saying something, right? So in conversations, usually the power is held by the person who is most comfortable giving silent pauses. And that is very important tactic in negotiation. And if they give you a silent pause, and if you start fumbling and if you start talking something immediately, then it immediately reduces the power that you have in the conversation. They become the alpha, you become the beta in the conversation. So you cannot afford to do that. When I say alpha, beta, it doesn't mean that you are disrespecting the client, right? It means that you are having a little bit higher position of power And whenever it comes to negotiation, the person who is ready to walk away from the deal has the higher power. So if you are approaching a client and if you are ready to walk away from the deal, then that gives you more power. So that is what I define, that is what I mean by power. It doesn't mean that you are trying to dominate over the client, and it doesn't mean that you are trying to be arrogant and disrespectful, right? Definitely not that. You should respect the client, but at the same time, if the relationship is in not in such a way that the client needs you more than you need the client, then you will be kind of at the receiving end, and you would have to accept what the client says, right? And this is not something that is going to happen overnight. This is going to come after a few years of experience where you are going to act from a position. So we have spoken to like Fortune 500 clients. We have spoken to like very big brands, like brands that you see everywhere, kind of brands, multi-billion-dollar brands. And we have said no to clients like that, right? In certain cases, we felt that, no, I don't think that we can take this project and execute it properly. We better say no. And that's how you go ahead and approach a client, negotiate and try to sell. And I'm going to make a lot more videos when it comes to building an agency and running an agency profitably, how to get clients, and a lot more things about digital marketing agency and freelancing. And I would only know what you want me to dive deeper into if you go ahead and leave a comment below and ask me questions. What do you want to know about? Do you want to know about creating proposals? Do you want to know more about negotiations? Do you want to know more about the services stack that you are offering? So I definitely I will be looking out for your comments and thoughts about this video. And I hope this video helped you get an idea if you are planning to become a freelancer, or if you are planning to grow your freelancing career into a digital marketing agency, you want to start a new digital marketing agency. I hope these tips helped if you are in that position, right? So thanks a lot for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.